Hey guys, so I've just got back from visit my family and get my brother to cut my hair. But before it gets too dark, I wanted to film a little intro to my footage of the Sewing Weekender this year. So the Sewing Weekender, it took place last weekend, 25th and 26th of August, and it's a sewing weekend break which we host here in the UK at Murray Edwards College in Cambridge, which is one of the women's colleges at Cambridge University. So it's organised by me and Kate and Rachel from the Fold Line, and this is the third year that we've run it. So this year we increased our capacity. So the last 2 years we were mostly based in one big room at the venue, and Janome very kindly loan us machines. So a lot of people have a machine loaned by Janome, and then other attendees bring their own machine. But this year we increased capacity, so we took over even more of the college. We were in 2 large rooms, and attendees, they basically bring whatever project that they feel like working on for the weekend. A lot of people tend to bring simpler projects so that they can chat with friends a lot of the time and not worry too much about making mistakes, but not everyone. Some people bring more complicated projects and really focus on a detail. There are quite a few attendees who bought projects where they wanted help with fitting, and then they got other attendees to help pin and fit lots of jeans back pockets, etc. So yeah, it's a real mix. But so we had attendees sat in 2 rooms for the weekend sewing, and then we also have a third smaller room, and that room we host workshops. So this year we had Spoonflower, and they ran the workshop 3 times, and it was a workshop on designing repeat print fabric. And the other thing that we have in that room is an absolutely enormous pattern and fabric swap as well. It needs space of its own. So yes, so over the course of the weekend, so me, Kate and Rachel arrive on the Friday, and we set up all of the Janome machines before everyone arrives on the Friday, and we also decorate the venue. So we put some decorations up, we blow up some balloons, etc. And then attendees arrive on Saturday morning, and then all day Saturday and until Sunday afternoon, attendees work on their project, they chat, drink lots of tea. This year we had lunch at the college, which is really nice. They have this huge domed dining hall, which you'll see in one of the clips in a minute. So yeah, we ate lunch in there, and then attendees, they can choose to stay at the college or not, but attendees who stay at the college in the student accommodation are obviously staying on site, and we have breakfast together as well at the college on the Sunday morning. So in addition to sewing and the Spoonflower workshops, the other thing we do is we have a number of speakers, and they're spread through the day. So we had 2 speakers on Saturday and we had 2 speakers on Sunday, and people just pause their sewing temporarily. Talks are about, I think, maybe 15 minutes or so, and then after the talk, we have a cup of tea and then we go back to sewing. So we had 4 really great speakers this year. So we had Karen Ball from Did You Make That, who talked about getting a sewing book deal, based on her background in publishing and also the fact that she might have a little book on the way. So we had Harriet Johnson, the little dressmaker, and also of Clothing Care Co. And Harriet was talking about Clothing Care Co. And the book she's recently produced, and giving tips about clothing, caring for your handmade garments. We had Frances Tobin from the Maker's Atelier, and Frances talked about the history of sewing patterns and Sewing Pattern magazine specifically, and talked about creating the Maker's Atelier magazine. We had Sheona from Sewisfaction, who talked about setting up a fabric shop and what it had been like for her setting up Sewisfaction. And then the other person we had with us over the weekend was Gay Appleby from the Loving the Fabric Shop, and Gay was there not as a speaker but to lend support to attendees. So she walked through the rooms during the day, our 2 rooms on site, and gave fitting advice, dressmaking advice to our attendees throughout the weekend. So I think that's everything to tell you. Oh, the only other thing I was going to say was that so during the weekend, me, Kate and Rachel don't sit and sew, just because we tend to spend, until lunchtime we tend to be running around making sure everything's working. We had a couple of power cuts and needed to fetch more equipment and just things like that. Just make sure everyone's okay and everyone's got everything they need. To be honest, after lunchtime it tends to cool down, but then we're normally a bit knackered, and also we just take the opportunity to wander around, natter, take photos, etc. So we don't sew while we're there. And the last 2 years we've organised the sewing weekend up, I plan to make something new to wear to the weekend, to the event, because a lot of our attendees do, and people always turn up in absolutely lovely outfits and colour coordinated nails and great shoes, etc. And I'm normally there in like a t-shirt because of the few days before the weekend are always really busy, just getting everything ready to go and making sure all the finishing touches they're in place. So the last 2 years I meant to make something new to wear and totally failed. But this year I thought, as it's an event that me, Kat and Rachel organise, it would be really nice to make something special to wear, and I actually made it. So I just wanted to show you. So that's what I'm wearing, and this is V9253, which has obviously been one of the really popular patterns this summer. So it's this dress, which you'll no doubt have seen lots of people making, and like probably the majority of other people who made it, I made it pretty much straight from the packet, but I raised the V-neck because it comes right down here, if you don't, right to the waist. Yeah, and wouldn't necessarily stay in place. So yeah, so I'll just quickly show you a little bit of the dress. There's not a lot of room in here. But yeah, so these are the sleeve. This is the sleeve length as is out of the packet. Oh, and the other funny thing, so I made a few mistakes making this dress actually. I think partly because I was rushing, because I wanted to get this done so that I could get back to making sure we had all the goodie bag supplies and lots of things for the weekend, and making sure we had all the decorations ready. So I kept making really stupid mistakes while I was sewing it. I'll show you the stupidest actually. So when I was constructing the bodice, obviously it's fairly fitted, and the back seam has an invisible zip, but I forgot that, and I sewed up the back seam with the standard seam allowance. I overlocked the back seam because this is quite a shifty fabric. It's just from Birmingham Market, and then remembered obviously it should have a zip, and after I'd unpicked the overlocking, unpicked the stitches, I'd obviously, because it was overlocked, lost the excess seam allowance. There wasn't enough fabric left basically to put the zip in. It wouldn't have fit, so I had to attach. I'll see if I can show you in the back. I don't know if you can see, but I had to attach some additional strips of fabric before I could attach my zip. So yes, stupid mistakes. And the other thing that I did is I thought the Thursday night, it must have been Thursday night before the weekend, I finished the dress, thought brilliant, put it in the suitcase, get on to the next job. And it was only when I was packing to leave on the Friday morning that I found the 2 waist ties. Because as you can see on the packet, this dress is supposed to have waist ties. And I found them over a chair. So obviously it doesn't really need them because it's fitted as it is. It's more for decoration. But yeah, it was a bit late then. So I'm going to go back and attach the waist ties sometime soon before I wear it. I'm probably going to wear it to a wedding next weekend. So yeah, before the wedding, hopefully I'll attach the waist ties. So enough rambling from me. I'll now leave you with lots of footage of our lovely attendees. So the footage will start with a little bit of me, Kat and Rachel setting up. Then lots of footage of the event, of our speakers, our lovely attendees, and some shots of the goodie bags as well, because our sponsors very generously support us. Partly they help fund, basically they help keep the costs down so that we can prevent tickets from being more expensive than they are, but they also very generously supply lots of lovely goodies for goodie bags as well.
Anytime I'm feeling, well, helpless and alone, I know that there's something I can turn to, over which I have control. I can make you look amazing. All I have to do is go to my room full of air and so for a stoop that's reduced by the sharpest of suits, or a colouring balanced by pastels and talent, a figure redeemed by the placement of seams and the adding of padding in some vital areas. But I won't judge, and I would not begrudge the most garish of gowns if your features it drowns, but your soul it completes as you stroll down the streets with a man with a tan and a flower in his buttonhole. Oh, yes, anything goes as I sit in my room and sew. When I'm creating, I'm not cogitating, or rather my mind is elsewhere ruminating on how to sew 100 roses upon a gown in such a way that it doesn't come falling, a bustle that rustles and sways so becomingly, somehow allays all the fear overcoming me. Pure concentration can cure this fixation with degradation, if only temporarily. Oh, it's more than just clothes as I sit in my room and sew. So I sit in my room and sew. Anytime I'm feeling, well, helpless and alone, I know that there's something I can turn to, over which I have control. I can make you look amazing. All I have to do is go to my room full of air and sew. For a stoop that's reduced by the sharpest of suits, or a colouring balanced by pastels and talent, a figure redeemed by the placement of seams and the adding of padding in some vital areas. But I won't judge, and I would not begrudge the most garish of gowns if your features it drowns, but your soul it completes as you stroll down the streets with a man with a tan and a flower in his buttonhole. Oh, yes, anything goes